I'm Josh.
I'm Chelsea, and this is our pup, Millie.
There you go. We're gonna start filming some stuff in this shop here. So by trade, Chelsea and I are both aviation people. We're both pilots. She's an A&P mechanic, airframe and power plant, as well as a maintenance inspector for aviation. I'm a flight instructor. That's really what we do for a living. But I guess more so, what I've been doing for a long time is making films about aviation stuff, posting them on YouTube. I posted my first YouTube video when I was 14 years old. And I've been doing it ever since. Graduated college and it kind of became a full-time thing. This channel is gonna be kind of an outlet for us to capture and share all of our other projects and experiences. Starting with this truck.
Which is also how we met. I said yes to some pretty random gigs all over the country, and because Josh can work from anywhere and we kind of choose to make everything an adventure, he's gone with me to all of those different opportunities, and it's been really sweet, and it's given us the opportunity to work together a lot, grow as a couple, and see a lot of different places. Every place that we were at before this one, we had the end date already in sight. And this one we really don't, so that's what's been different about it.
We're renting this place, this house here, and it's kind of like an interim solution to our living situation where we figure out what's gonna be next. But this is the longest we have lived in one place together as a couple. This has kind of been like a looming project that we want to work on, and we haven't really had the time or the space to tackle it really until now. But it hasn't run for a couple years. It actually died on the interstate on us about 2 years ago. We had to do some troubleshooting, couldn't figure it out, got it towed back to the house. Ultimately figured out that the ignition was not sending spark to the spark plugs. This truck has electronic ignition and electronic fuel injection, but it's very rudimentary from 1987. Lots of broken wires, lots of harnesses that are just like corroded. You can't tell what's what. The colors are faded off the wires. I'm not gonna troubleshoot that. So I disabled the factory ignition system and I installed a high energy ignition, an HEI distributor. Standalone, hook it up to power, hook it up to the TAC. Got the engine to run, but it ran like absolute crap. Advance the timing, retard the timing, couldn't get it to run right. I did a little more research, my mistake, I should have done this beforehand. The factory fuel injection now does not talk to the factory ignition coil because it's disabled. I disabled it. So now the fuel injection is just like, I don't know if it's running way too lean, way too rich. My guess is it's just giving it all the fuel and it's running like crap. So at that point, that's when I decided, okay, to get this engine running, I would just feel much better if we just pull it out.
And hopefully this will be the first of many projects.
Yes.
And we have some other ideas for some vehicles immediately after this one.
They are currently buried in bushes and trees.
We're gonna rebuild this pickup truck, this truck that was the initial reason we met. I like to believe that we would have still met either way.
I would have made sure we met either way.
We're gonna have quite a bit of aviation on our plate this year because we're gonna be building a brand new aircraft in Torrance, California. All of that stuff is showcased on Josh's channel that he started when he was 14 on Aviation 101.
Yeah, that's all on the aviation channel.
On the aviation channel, so we have a lot going on, but excited to start a new channel and begin this new wrench and roam adventure together. But that's where we are now, so let's dig in.
That's right. Let's go take a look at the truck. Warm coffee in a cold shop. A necessity. So let's look under the hood. I have my workout equipment out here, and I come out here and work out all the time, and when I'm doing my rests between sets, I'll like open the hood of this truck and stare at it to dream of what to do with it. So the ignition lines are a little bit of a mess right now. They're unhooked because we just took compressions, and I actually wrote them all up on the board up there. That was back in October, so about 3 months ago. They were all right up to 120 PSI. So all 6 cylinders on this straight 6 seemed good.
And those were cold compressions.
Yeah, and those were cold compressions too. So I don't personally think we need to tear this engine totally apart. I want to pull it out, and I want to pull the transmission out. Another thing I want to do to this truck is convert it to a manual, but we'll get to that in a second. So I think brake booster for sure needs to be replaced. It's got a hell of a hiss when the engine is running. I think the diaphragm is probably ripped. We'll replace that vacuum line and everything. Master cylinder is pretty corroded for the brakes. Those are pretty cheap. I wouldn't mind just replacing that too, unless that one looks like it can be cleaned up. And all the other accessories I want to take out. So this is the air box for the electronic fuel injection. going to the throttle body, into the injection manifold, and then the injection rail is down there. So all of this stuff right here is going to go. That's a mousetrap. Don't worry about that. So I want to take all of this stuff out and convert this side to a carbureted manifold. That way we can either put a carburetor or an aftermarket bolt-on fuel injection. I've heard mixed reviews on the Holley Snipers. I'm a computer guy. Computers don't scare me, so I'm willing to give it a try. Carburetors are also trusty and simple, so.
We currently fly with carburetors.
Yeah, we currently fly Cessnas that have carburetors and they're very reliable. But electronic fuel injection is very great in differing temps, differing altitudes. If we ever want to drive this thing into the mountains or take it on a road trip, fuel injection will be nice. So that's probably going to be the biggest change that's going to happen under here, is getting rid of this Ford electronic fuel injection manifold and converting it to carbureted. Of course, we're going to get rid of all the horsepower robbing emissions crap. It really does not do anything good for your engine whatsoever. And honestly, this crap is from 1987. It doesn't work anymore anyways, so we're going to take it out. And that's really going to clean up under the hood here. I believe this has already been converted to R134 on the air conditioning, but it has not worked for the duration that I've owned the truck. I'm thinking it's maybe a bad clutch, bad wiring, something. No matter how you actuate the switches in the cab, I could never hear the AC compressor kick on or never feel it. So we'll figure that out. This is a reasonably new battery, but it's probably going to need to have a trickle charge because it's been sitting for so long. And a lot of this like wiring junk, this has been jerry-rigged at some point because it broke. It looks like the stud broke off. A lot of this stuff is going to be totally redone. I'm an electrical guy. I love electrics and I love computers. I think to me they're very intuitive in how they operate, and electricity is just plumbing with electrons. That's how I see it. So redoing all of this wiring, putting our own wiring harness in this truck does not scare me one bit, and that's something that I really want to do too, really eliminate the factory electronics. So like I said, this is a 4.9 liter Ford 300 cubic inch inline six. So this is a girthy six cylinder. This thing has a lot of torque. And I love this engine. I love how it drives. It just needs some work. It's had a miss the whole time I've owned it, and I think that had to do with the ignition that finally gave up the ghost. And then now the fuel injection is just not compatible with the setup that I want to proceed with, and I want to have a standalone fuel injection unit in here. So that is kind of the big thing that's going to happen under here, of course, aside from removing the engine. That's no big deal. Also, taking the engine out allows you to access all of the accessory section. So if you do want to do rewiring, a new wiring harness, any of that stuff, pulling it out, allowing yourself to get under there and get on every angle to strip it down to see what other components you want to replace or remove, cancel, delete altogether. Pulling the engine out while we're not planning to rebuild it, it's going to allow us to do all of that stuff where we have plenty of room to work, and we're not, for me, standing on a tire or a stool hunched over the engine bay here. And then while we'll both be working on the engine, when it comes to airplanes, engine work is my absolute favorite. I love everything about the engine stuff. Josh is a master when it comes to electrical work and wiring and diagrams, and he just installed an entire very complex engine monitor in my airplane and spent several days upside down in the basically where the foot pedals are, and did work that, even though I'm an airplane mechanic, I wouldn't have touched without his help. So we're really excited to dive in on this engine, and I'll be helping Josh with that. So while we'll both be working a lot on the engine stuff, I'm also going to tackle this interior. I think that this is just a rug, like a household rug that someone put here. I've actually never looked under this thing. It's there because it's ripped to shreds.
So you can see this is all torn up. The foam is probably still good. We'll look at that, clean it up, vacuum it, but I would like to remove all of this. This is like a fake leather upholstery. The headliner of this is in phenomenal shape. A lot of the times you see them, they're all drooping down, or someone has stapled them. But this actually looks really good. I've never taken notice of the headliner because I've never thought about redoing it while we've been driving around in it. But I'm super excited to tackle this project with Josh and help him transform this thing. I'm sure we're gonna have this truck for a lifetime and probably haul stuff around on the farm with it. And I think it will be an asset to helping so many of our other dreams. Maybe starting a flower farm, pumpkins, fill the bed with pumpkins and flowers, I don't know. There's not a lot of broken plastic, which is really shocking because normally when you get inside these old pickup trucks, all of the plastic is just so brittle and snapped up.
So like I said before, this thing is a 4-wheel drive, which was like, I was not gonna buy a truck that was not a 4-wheel drive. That was a big thing that I wanted. It is an automatic. I wish it were a manual. Of course, there's the spot for the shifter to come through right here. And I am loosely on the hunt for a same body generation F-150, preferably with the inline 6 with a manual transmission. It does not have to be a 4x4 because obviously I have a transfer case that can come off the transmission, but I would love to convert this thing to a manual, cut the hole right here, and I need the new pedal assembly, drive shaft, and all that kind of stuff. So that's one project we're gonna do. And with that, the reason I wanna get a parts truck as opposed to just a transmission is I wanna replace the steering column to take the automatic shifter out, and I want to replace the dash cluster. So this cluster originally does not have a tachometer in it. I had to put an aftermarket tach down here, which looks just fine, and in fact the colors match the rest of the dash and everything, so it's perfect. But I want to replace this with a cluster that has the tachometer up here and does not have the park reverse neutral, etc. And then I can take this steering column cluster and everything and put it in whatever parts truck we get, and we can fix that one up as an automatic and sell it, and then our 4x4 F-150 will be a manual 4-wheel drive. And then the climate controls, like I said, there's something goofy going on there. The dampers are not working, and who knows what all is living in the vents and everything. So I plan to take that whole dash apart and totally rewire it. And that brings us to what we're gonna work on today, which is removing the bed. That's going to be a bear of a task. We're going to see if we can do it, just the two of us. I'm not sure if we can. We got to move a little bit of junk out of the way behind it, and I think we're going to use the engine lift to possibly take the weight of the bed off the truck. Then we're going to try and roll the truck out from under it and then set the bed on 4 sawhorses, basically, so that we can work on the bed, address rust. And the reason we want to take the bed off is because this truck has rust. It's not terrible in most places, but there are a few spots that are like, we got to get in there with some wire wheels and weld some stuff up and really fix it. There's some body work that needs to happen. It's kind of crumbling apart back there. Somebody's already bondoed and painted over that. We're going to be the next ones to do it. And the frame, for the most part, is just surface rust, but that will expose maybe even a little over half the truck if we take the bed off. And we can just really get in there with tools, fix everything, clean it up, put some anti-corrosion stuff on it, probably paint it or something like that, and then just do that in stages and work our way forward through this whole project, eventually to the engine, which is where we're going to do all the upgrades. That's going to be the last task, is working on the engine and transmission. So up until that point, we're doing rust mitigation, work on the body, wiring, interior, and then engine's going to be the last thing we tackle, at least in my head. That's going to change. We'll see. Step 1 is we need to get our industrial size drip pane out of the bed.
Oh my God.
I'll take the drip pan.
Millie thinks it's her pool.
Now she wants up there.
How do we take the bed liner out?
Well, this part doesn't come off. Yeah, the front. Honestly, I think we just like...
One piece, yeah.
It just like kind of bends and slides
Well,
out.
I didn't know if we should undo and slide it back.
Yeah. I think get the sides out first if you want to work on that. I've never taken one of those out, so I don't know.
Oh, if you push down.
Yeah, I think it kind of curls and comes out. All of this wood was from the rooftop tent that we put on the Xterra. And we got to do something with it. But it can't stay here anymore.
I need some gloves.
You want gloves?
Yeah.
Like rubber gloves?
No.
The only gloves I have are my brown leather ones. You want them?
Yeah.
They might be a little big on you.
No, these will be good. Now it's going back in down there.
There you go. What's up, puppy?
Now it fits in.
Huh?
Now it fits in.
Oh, yeah. There is the tailgate. I'm no painter, but I feel like the person who repainted this truck at some point did a good job. Theoretically, it should be free, right?
Yeah.
All right.
It's lipped up here.
It's being weighed down by a dog.
It's hooked in that corner.
All right, Millie, out. Out. Okay.
Baby, she doesn't know where to go.
I'm gonna. Well, I need to set it down to show her. Okay, come on. Now that you locked it back in place, come on, come on, come on. Come here.
Go, Millie, go.
Come on, Millie. Come on. Good girl. She's probably about to jump back up in there.
Go to that side.
All right.
I'm glad Millie wasn't under there.
It wouldn't hurt that bad.
Oh, Millie.
This thing's in one piece.
Yeah.
It looks good.
And it didn't crack up at all. And this
No.
doesn't look bad at all.
No. Wow. I wonder if this is original.
Oh, I'm sure.
From the factory.
Yeah.
What I had feared is that this would have been totally rusted out, and that's why they put a bed liner on it to cover it up. But I'm impressed. This looks great.
It looks really good. It looks
Here's
like
the
there's
connector.
two little spots right here that, like right here, you know, we're getting a little bit of flakiness.
Or
And I
something
don't
maybe.
know if they tack weld or like they welded right here, because there's nothing on that side that I can tell. Oh, yeah, maybe, yeah, it looks like there's some.
Might be the attachment points
Yeah.
for where the part of the wheel well guard gets put
But
in or something.
I cannot believe that it is.
This looks great. Okay, so to remove the bed bolt, that's a carriage bolt, carriage bolt, carriage bolt, carriage bolt, carriage bolt, carriage bolt. 6 bolts.
Millie, get the tools. Get the tools, puppy. We're gonna have farm adventures with this truck.
She has never ridden in this truck.
Puppy. That bed liner came out a lot easier than I thought it would. And I cannot believe that there's this little or lack of rust in this bed. I was expecting, for one, those bed liners hold moisture underneath them. They don't, if it rains, water gets under there and it doesn't evaporate the same way it would out of the bed just in general. And so I expected it to look really bad under here. The bed looks like it's in phenomenal condition. I wouldn't even put a bed liner in it. I mean, it already has it, so we'll put it in there. But it looks great. And so Josh just pointed out there's 6 carriage bolts that we're gonna.
And in fact, the bottom end of those, I looked at 3 of them and they're not really corroded. They don't look corroded.
So this project might be able to go a little bit quicker than we initially thought.
Could be. Yeah, mission for today is to get this bed off, scoot the truck forward, and set the bed down on sawhorses and expose the frame underneath the bed. So the reason I'm so surprised there's not much rust is, take a look at this. First of all, this part of the body right here, that has been bondoed. And then if you look up under here,
oops.
That's got a fair amount of rust. Doesn't look like anything's necessarily structurally compromised, but it's a lot of surface rust. And then of course, this part of the body right here is yuck and is gonna have to be totally reconstructed. We're just gonna peel that off and probably cut a big chunk out of the bed and put new pieces on. But stuff like this, the rear shackle mount for the leaf spring, we can replace that. And the rear shackle, we can replace that. Bumper mount, like all of that's just surface rust. That's not bad. We can wire wheel that and clean it up in no time, but it's gonna be much easier to wire wheel it with no bed on the truck. So let's see if we can get this bed lifted up. Our first step is gonna be get those bolts undone. There's a carriage bolt right up here, and then there's another one back there. They're gonna be a little tricky to get to, but we've got tools for that. I'm so happy with how good a shape this bed liner is.
I know, it's not like.
All right, so next step.
Tail lights, do we need to disconnect electrical?
There will be a couple things to disconnect. And that is a good point that we'll need to think of. I did not think about disconnecting the lights, but that will for sure need to happen. I was mainly thinking about this guy. There's like a hose clamp down there to pop it apart. Need to disconnect that, and then, yeah, that's a good point, lights. And
before you start messing with the lights, do the battery, disconnect the battery.
For sure, yeah. Chelsea made a good point that I had not thought about yet. When we remove the bed, not only are we gonna, I was already thinking about unhooking the fuel inlet, like the hose that goes from the gas cap. I was already thinking about unhooking that, plugging it and everything. I had not thought about the tail lights, turn signals, reverse lights, all the electrical going to the back. I don't know if there's like a harness disconnect. We're gonna be dealing with some electrical stuff back there, and good practice anyways, we're gonna go ahead and take the battery out. So we're gonna unground it first and then take off the positive and pull the battery aside. What size would I be? I'm gonna guess this is a 1/2 inch. Ground first, indeed. A 1/2 inch. Ground is disconnected. And then that way, when we're working on the positive here, if we go back and pop the frame or something, we're not gonna throw sparks because the frame is no longer grounded, or the chassis. Okay, positive is disconnected, and I think we have a 1/2 inch bolt down there. I got these extensions from Harbor Freight that have a little locking collar that don't allow the socket to come off, which is really handy so that we don't leave sockets on spark plugs. I believe this is all that has to be removed for this guy. And for the most part, when I remove a part such as this, I am going to, what just came out? Oh, a mud dauber's nest. Let's see. For the most part, when I take a part out, I'm gonna pretty much just put it back in. Like put that hardware back in there. That battery tray doesn't look terrible. It needs to be cleaned up for sure. But that is something we can do when the engine is out and we have much more room. Battery removed. Oh man, now all my all my radio station presets are reset. I'm not gonna get this thing super tight. I'm just gonna run it back in. I feel like that's the easiest way to keep track of parts, hardware mainly. Just put it back where it was, and like if it's gonna be a while before I get to it, I feel like I am way less at risk of losing that part if it is back where it came from. And that's where it will stay. All right. Batteries removed. So I guess next step is going to be figuring out what's under the bed in terms of wiring and all that kind of stuff. And then let's see if we can get this thing removed to start getting it unbolted. Without even having to whip the creeper out, here's the spare tire and here's the back bumper. There's this little, don't know if this looks aftermarket for sure, but here's the harness. Right here is the harness coming out of the frame, and it hits this little T-junction. This is for the trailer lights, which last I checked don't work one bit. And then this goes up to the bed lights right here. So Chelsea just fired up the diesel heater. So I think we can unplug this right here, and that separates the bed wiring from the frame wiring. And there's the Y split that goes to both tail lights and reverse lights. So unhook it right there, and we should be golden. All right, let me unhook this. Excuse me, brown recluses. I think if I get my finger right there, give it a push, work it off, it's on its way. There we go. All right, let's see here. We have a couple of, got rust in my mouth. Look at this beautiful wire nut job. I think this is just a ground and a hot for the running light circuit. It's actually, this pair of wires goes to the license plate lights, and it is spliced via electrical tape up there. Probably, it actually doesn't even look like it's soldered or anything. Spliced into the running light circuit. So it's just a positive and negative, I believe. And then I'm going to go up here, trusty Leatherman, and give it a snip. That's cut. And I believe electrical on the bed is done. What do you think? Hello. Hi. Tell me what you see, Millie.
All right, I have always called these worm clamps. What do you call them?
Hose clamps.
They're worm clamps. It's a worm gear.
Well, we are in Kentucky, so we can use
Whatever.
we can use whatever name you would like. Oh, thank you, Millie. Thank you.
What size? Long or short?
So we're gonna try and drop this filler neck assembly out of the bed. That's broken, that's trash. Is that rolling? Oh, thank you. Motivation. All right, this is already come loose.
Nice.
Okay.
Do you want me to take that?
Sure. I'm probably just gonna put them back in this assembly.
Yeah. Just don't drop them in there.
Okay, that is hanging down now. So let me.
Do you want to get something to cover up the hole to the tank, or can you put the cap back
I'm gonna
on?
put the cap back on it.
Okay. Nice.
I'll just thread these in here because I find that is the easiest way to keep track of parts that we're not gonna touch for a while. Okay. Fuel cap's on. I'm gonna go ahead and throw this hose clamp back on. Millie, you want that heater back on? All right. I know the first bolt. Need a face shield. All right, is right there. And I think I can get to that just with a socket on an extension and just bang it loose from down here. That'll need to be a long extension with possibly a U-joint. There's no way in hell I'm getting a wrench with my hand up there. Okay, that's a cab mount on a shock so that we don't have to deal with that. The boundary is right here. The bed starts right here. So, okay, there's that one. I want to just get eyes on all of them. There's that one, which is actually reasonably rusted. But I can definitely get a socket on that, maybe even a wrench. Take a note of what size that might be. That might be 3/4. This one looks pretty okay. That one looks reasonably rusted. Okay. So we need probably a 3/8 drive, which I already had out. And then we're gonna need the longer extension there. There's a 3/4. And in fact, let's do a deep well. Let's take those. I think this extension would be a good idea. Let's take the 3/8 drive U-joint. Take the 3/4 impact, because that's all I got. All right, let's see what we can do with that. Got the first bolt loose.
Okay. Yep.
I think these are galvanized bolts from Home Depot. I bet this bed has been removed before.
Millie, was this you? Huh? Fess up. Did you eat this?
Alright. The next one is right here, and the rear one's right there. Move the other side. The heater is so loud. This thing is stuck, but I'm moving it. Whenever you hear a big bang, that's the nut moving.
We need some Croil.
Somebody took mine. Can you do me a favor?
Yeah.
Can you look up in the bed at this bolt and see if the head's spinning?
Yeah, it's spinning.
Oh my God. All right. We have so far gotten one bolt off the bed. Working.
It was all too easy.
It was going all too easy up until that point. All of the other bolts look okay except for this one. So these two that are in line abreast with each other are the ones that I suspect are going to be seized. I'm going to go ahead and get these back bolts off and move back up there and get that forward bolt off. And then that way we will be totally free and ready to move the bed, except for these 2 seized bolts. And I think the easiest way to do it is to get out the angle grinder.
I do think it's the best use of time to just keep moving forward with the tools that are already out and get everything out, and then go back to this one, which we already know is a problem. And then at that point, we'll know if the one that Josh said underneath looks the same as this one is also a problem.
Needy puppy.
Just always looking for a good warm lap. She's a little big to be a lap dog, but we let it slide.
Is that spinning?
Yep. Yep.
And there is no bolt to ground onto there. There are no threads showing through the nut. What'd I tell you? Not 2 seconds before you hit record, I said that means it's about to snap.
Well, now you can just use a punch.
Golly gee, I wish the others would do that. Yeah, look at that. Look how it's necked down. All right. That one popped loose. God dang, these things are rusty. Where they were touching the frame, at least, they're really, really rusty. These are definitely not original. That has been painted over. This bed has been removed. All right, so this bed is pretty loose. It's able to rock. So we're going to grind that one. That one broke off. We do not need to grind it. And then the one right behind the camera there is still fastened with the nut. So that one and that one need to be ground. That one broke off and it's stuck in there, but it's no longer holding the bed. So we're good there. So we just got to grind 2 of them. So I'm going to put on some, I already got my eyes. I'm going to put on some ears, grab the angle grinder, and just freaking grind those heads down. God, destructive. So the bed has 6 bolts holding it down to the frame. I got 4 of them loose, 3 of them completely out. 1 of them twisted and snapped off when I was trying to take it off, which I'm fine with because that means it's now unfastened and we can deal with the broken bolt when the bed is off the truck. But 2 of them are just sitting there spinning and there's not enough room to get vice grips in there. It's also just way too seized up to get vice grips on it for that to even help at all. I already hit them with a lot of heat and penetrant, let them sit. So I'm just gonna grind the heads off and the bed will come right off and then we'll just pop the remainder of the bolts down through the frame. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. I'm gonna put on my eyes and ears, fire up the angle grinder and grind down these 2 bolt heads, and that's all that's holding the bed on at this point. When we lift it up, we're gonna be real careful just in case there's some sort of plumbing or some sort of wiring that I have missed somehow. So we'll be real careful, but after I grind these heads off, I think the bed is ready to be lifted, and then we're gonna kind of strategize how we wanna do that. Got a bunch of heavy duty straps that I think we're gonna do that with the engine lift and just get it high enough to be able to roll the truck out from under it. Chelsea and I will roll the truck while the engine lift is holding the bed, and then we'll set the bed down on sawhorses, and then the truck will actually be parked way up here. So we're not gonna have all this open space here anymore. The truck's gonna come almost all the way forward, but that's next. I'm gonna go ahead and start grinding on those bolts while Chelsea is back at the house for a few minutes because it's gonna get really loud in here. So I'm gonna go ahead and knock that out. So theoretically, should be loose. Yeah? Yeah, I do believe the entire bed is loose. So I'm gonna clean up some of these tools And hopefully Chelsea's gonna be back here in just a few minutes and we'll be ready to kind of rig up some straps and use the engine lift to take the weight off the frame and suspend the bed, make sure it's not hung up on anything. Roll the truck forward, put some sawhorses under the bed and let it down. Energized from snack time.
Yeah, and I'm cold.
Oh geez, that thing wasn't even tight. I'm all getting ready with the impact and everything. All right, this needs to be raised up. We're not gonna be able to get this thing very far forward. I don't wanna have to take the bumper
And
off.
we need to chalk it too.
But that would buy us like 8 inches. Let's try and at least see how far we can get this thing. It's gonna go forward like 2.5 feet.
That's it.
That's all we got.
I think it'll be enough just to hold.
Yeah, it might be trying to tip. Like the bed's gonna try and go forward. The other option is take the bumper off and that would...
Yeah, how easy is that?
As easy as breaking 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts. Probably gonna wanna take that thing off eventually anyways.
We could repaint it too.
Yeah.
Tape off the chromed areas and repaint these.
God dang, we're gonna have to take the trailer hitch off too.
Oh my god.
Because it's in the way. Maybe just try it first.
Well, let's throw a couple of weights back here.
We could. We could try to balance it.
Yeah. Is that where you want it?
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is gonna be way better. Nice. That looks better.
Yeah, much. Ready?
Yep. Now theoretically it shouldn't slide or shouldn't want to go back. It's just going to be tipping at this point. Make sure I close that valve all the way. What, Millie? You are so whiny. You're in the comfy cab. You're okay.
Kind of pulling this metal up. Keep going. Maybe we should throw another plate back here.
Yeah, it's heavy. Let me
Grab another one.
It is bending that up a little bit. I'd hate for this to freaking crack right here.
Well, then let's do it quickly. Grab another plate and let's...
Well, I'm thinking of putting this strap in a different spot. Like right here.
Or right here. Oh, it won't go through there.
Could. Let's lower it down one more time. I'll move these. I just don't want to risk it snapping.
Oops.
That was fast.
This one's hooked in right here, good.
Okay. All right, let me grab another. You think I should put another 45 on it?
Maybe a 35. Or just like grab a few and bring them over here.
Here's another 25. Okay, pause real quick. Let me look at this fuel neck. Okay.
I think you should guide it on this side too. Like run over here, because it seems like it's kind of
Twisting.
yeah. That's good. I feel like it's really free now. Let me just keep.
It needs more weight on the rear end.
Yeah, put the 45 back here.
This is a 35.
That'll be good, I think. Now it's doing good.
Oh yeah. Wow. Keep her coming. That looks good. Let me take a look here. I'm pretty sure all the wiring is loose. Wait, keep going up. Give it another pump. Okay, hang on, it's snagged. It's snagged on this bolt. I gotta bang that through. That's what was holding it. Nice. Bed's coming off.
Do you want to grab a moving blanket and throw it over the cab
Yeah, that's a good idea.
to protect the window and the paint back there?
That'll at least kind of protect it in the middle. All right.
Keep pumping.
Yeah.
It's really cool looking from right here. The thing going up. That was my arm rocking this way.
I'm just watching it to see if it's at full travel. We're clear.
Ready to move the truck?
I think so. And then we can set this thing on sawhorses. If you let it go, what does it do? That's nicely balanced.
Whew, some air in these tires wouldn't have been a bad idea.
I know.
Oh my God, look how old that thing is.
Also, the brakes are probably dragging at
Yeah,
this
you
point.
can hear it.
Bed is suspended.
It's gonna be so great to work on all the frame, everything with the bed off the truck. Just like it's gonna be phenomenal when we get this engine hoist back and we can get the engine out of the bay and we have everything just right there accessible, tons of room to start pulling stuff off and dig it in. So this was our first project, a real project on this truck. I guess the first project was getting it off the side of the highway.
But yeah, so this is where I strapped the drive shaft up to this cross member for the trip up to Kentucky because I towed it behind my Xterra. Here's what's left of this bolt that I ground off. Yeah, like spare tire, that cross member. The frame really doesn't look as bad as I thought.
It's mainly where there are any type of overlapping pieces of metal. You can see where, I guess, moisture got between the two and it wasn't able to evaporate or dry off as quickly.
Yeah, like right here, this is the rear shock, same thing on the other side. These are new, and this shock mount is new. It rusted all the way through and we had to grind these rivets off and replace that whole assembly. But the way the design came from the factory from Ford, it collects water and it has no way to dry out right there. There's a matching hole in the frame on the other side.
Yeah, and you can see the rustier part is where that piece was holding it. Also, you can see right in like areas that are up here where it can collect water, you know? The moisture, the heat, the humidity, the metal, and then you just have rust trying to revert back to its natural element on the periodic table, basically. But those plates were a great idea.
Yeah,
And
they're up here actually weighing down the rear end of the bed because it's hoisted not from the center, just because we're at our travel limit there.
in aviation, we're always battling weight and balance. So weight times arm equals moments. And as soon as I saw that the hoist wasn't going to be in the center and we were worried about that front end being heavier because it had more material at a longer arm, so a longer distance, I suggested grabbing weights off Josh's weight rack over here where he works out all the time and throwing those on that back end where the tailgate, I bet the tailgate would have added quite a bit of weight.
Yeah, the tailgate probably would have been about that much weight. Not quite.
But this worked out well. Let's push it the rest of the way forward.
This worked out perfectly. I think just to prevent scraping right here, we should take those plates off the rear bumper.
Yeah.
And maybe put one of them on the corner of the bed over there to sort of get it to level out and give us some more room. And then we just have to scoot the truck basically another, to be safe, we can call it 3.5, 4 feet. And then we'll drop the bed down on the sawhorses. And then all this will be exposed and ready to work on.
The bed looks good.
Bed looks great.
It looks really good.
Looks really nice.
They taped it off to paint and do their striping.
Whoever painted it, I think, did a good job.
Yeah.
It doesn't look bad at all. And this doesn't look bad. I don't see any major corrosion or anything
This
like
might
that.
be a new bed.
It could be. That plate is rusted and gone, but that is that's just a heat shield for the exhaust pipe. So we're gonna continue pulling this thing out. Give the dog a pet for a second because she will not quit crying. You wanted to be in the cab. It's getting dark outside and this is normally her cuddle time on the couch. How hard did you have to push down over here?
Not 45 pounds hard, but you could swap. You could take the 35 or the 25 off. I'll hold this up.
You got that?
Yeah.
All right, I'm taking a 25 off. Put a 45 up here.
All right, I'm letting go.
Okay,
Yeah, that's good. That was the clearance you were looking for.
plenty of room.
Yeah.
All right, let me take this other plate off just so that we're not dragging dead weight. All right, ready to push?
Yeah.
I think we're hitting a flat spot on the tires. A little more. I think that's pretty good right there.
All right, go grab the chalks.
All right. Chalked. Millie, are you happy with it?
Look!
The bed's gone. No, not your dog bed. Bless you. So, in order to get more room here without having the truck so far forward, I just now noticed where the exhaust pipe's gone, where I lost it. That's at the end of the catalytic converter. That's where it broke off. So we're going to turn the bed 90 degrees and set it on sawhorses to buy us an extra 3 or 4 feet so that we can scoot the truck back as far as we can, so that we have as much room to work as possible. So are you ready?
Yeah. Thinking about it, we should have doubled up straps.
Oh, if one popped loose?
Yeah.
Yeah,
we can
that'd be-
also lower this.
Yeah, we could.
Lower it, and that'll make it easier to manage. Stop, Millie.
All right, I'm going to lower it just a little bit.
Okay. Okay.
That gives us room to still get the sawhorses in there. Okay.
Should we scoot this forward a little bit more?
Yeah, probably not a bad idea.
Millie's driving.
That was a very Mark comment.
Huh?
That was a very Mark comment. Millie's driving.
Whatever.
That was a Mark comment too.
Oh, whatever.
Do you want me to drive back there?
Yes.
Or up here?
I'm gonna steer this.
All right, I'm gonna swing the hoist toward the kayak, so you're gonna go that way.
Oh, okay.
Well, either way, I feel like I have more room over there
Yeah,
for this.
go that way. Stay clear though, in case one of these let go. There you go.
Nice.
Yeah, good right there.
Yeah, maybe, yeah, that way we have enough room to walk over here and then we can still scoot the truck back 4 feet. Let me scoot this way just a little bit. All right, happy with it?
You tell me.
I think that's good. I say we set it down right there.
All right.
All right, you good?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm letting pressure out.
Okay. Hold on. Walked a little bit. Okay. More.
This is too much.
That's good.
Okay.
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 Let her down.
I'm on the horses over here. Keep going. Let me know when.
Yeah.
All right, straps have slack.
Heck yeah.
That worked out great.
I'm glad we turned it. Don't just put them down, put them up.
I'll put them up in a minute.
Don't wake up on the wrong side of the drug bed tomorrow morning.
I always wake up on the wrong side of the truck bed. With an empty bottle of Jack in my pants. I don't know how that song goes.
Pull it out. No, I meant just pull this hoist out.
Well, I want to get rid of this mess. Okay. All right, here's the other sawhorse that I can hold it up.
Yeah.
Good?
Yep.
Ooh, that's a lot heavier than I thought. Make it quick. I need to set it down.
You need to?
Yep.
Okay, go. Sorry, what was going on?
Sharp on my hands. I didn't feel the brunt of the weight until it like tipped on those forward sawhorses.
Yeah.
Then I was like, oh, that's way heavier. Not too heavy, but it was hurting my hands bad. Okay.
I'm
Ready?
just gonna scoop this. Okay.
Happy with it?
Yeah.
Happy with it. Looks great.
Yikes.
That looks homemade.
Ready?
Yeah. I think it's maybe
Good?
a little more room actually. Let's go that way just a little bit.
That's good.
That gave us about 3.5 feet
Hi,
in front. Nice. You're the one she wanted. That's
Cleaned.
good enough. Good enough. It is out of the way now. Well, that was today's mission. Get the bed off the F-150, scoot it forward a little bit, and get everything set up to start really, really working on this truck. Not as bad as I thought it was going to look on the frame. I actually already hit it with a wire wheel a little bit right here, and that confirmed, because that's where the rust looked about the same or about as bad as anywhere else on the truck. And it came right off. I mean, it's all surface rust. There are a couple places, like right here, a matching side on the other side where it's rusted all the way through, but not bad. It's all just surface corrosion. So we can fix all of that. We have full access to get to all of the stuff on the rear end of the truck here. The tricky part's going to be getting to the stuff under the cab, and there are some really badly rusted body mounts right down here in the hood. So we're going to take care of that once the engine's out and all this stuff comes out. But I think we're going to work our way forward, starting from the back of the truck all the way forward. So now it's time to clean up tools.
Most mechanics that I've worked with over the years are very good multitaskers. We like to switch our thoughts every few seconds, and it can be really good, but it can also lead to a chaotic shop. So we're going to try not to do that. We're going to clean everything up, kind of do a little bit of a debrief, and then we're going to head to the house and make some yummy dinner for this evening.
Millie is more than ready to go into the house. But we're going to finish cleaning up and call it a mission accomplished. So we'll see y'all in the next video.